As you've been saying, as I will now say, waiting for this for an entire split. It could not have come soon enough. Our final week, our final series between G2 and KC, our final series at Paris now begins. Jace and Maokai straight away off the board. Canna knows, and G2 knows they cannot give this top laner much room to breathe. I guess that's why the Rumble also follows suit.
Yeah, and there goes the Azir that we were just mentioning as well. So feels like we're kind of getting some of those lead-ins from that previous time these two teams faced off against each other. But still, I'm looking at Varus, looking at a lot of these picks that are still very, very strong in this patch. We'll have to see if that is going to be the first port of call here.
Yeah, that makes sense. Talia gone as well, as we're talking about last series. That Talia, such a good port of call for the LEC right now. Remember, patch 25.9 if you need a refresher. We've had all kinds of wild things, even the Annie come through last game. These two teams are very diverse in their picks. So what is going to be the priority here with, as you said, Varus just seems to be the easy lock.
Yeah, Varus is just too strong. He works both on hit and poke, so he can be very flexible in his whatever draft he goes into. On the opposite side here, I think you end up taking the buy here. Going through, that has kind of been the big pick that KC played for yesterday. It's been something that we've seen a lot from Yike as well, and it looks like that is going to be the answer.
Funny, in the past, I did not like Yike's buy, but he's obviously been putting in the reps. It was insane, wasn't it? It's not often that I've said that about him, but now he's most played champion at 7 games, counting this. Neeko as well, locked in here for Targamas. A fun fact, this is the first Neeko game for Targamas.
Yeah, very early rotation on it as well. Traditionally, you kind of wait to see, oh, there's going to be like a Leona or something that will lock it into. But it means that you do have an answer here if you want to, with going for something like a Karma or something a bit more poke-orientated for G2 on that bottom side, if you would like to. But Labrov has kind of been the Rel guy, so kind of opting in towards that to say, hey, if you go Rel, you're not going to have a great time into this Neeko.
First Neeko of the split, by the way, just to give context in, is Zin's out, locks in. The question is, do we want a pairing now, Dagda? Do we want that Rel you were talking about for an early support to match the Neeko before it gets banned away?
But there's two options. You could either take something like your mid laner here and just say, hey, we're going to set up for caps nice and early. Okay, they're going to go for the support, because you now have to match, I feel like, your AD carry in this position, and that's what they're going to go do here. So already, I wasn't sure if it was going to be Kai'Sa or Ezreal. I think both of them could have slotted in here, but quite dive-orientated, a lot of frontline burst coming through from this KC side as well. So this is going to be a bloody matchup, to say the least. Also,
that Kai'Sa pickup takes away Han Summer, most played champion alongside the Varus too. So with Fearless, this is a nice take from KC in its own right. Let's go to the second ban, see what we're up against. No mid laners, no top laners yet locked in. Victor straight away off the board, which is good. We don't want any of these wishy-washy mid laners, these, you know, like vegetarian mids like the Victor. We want to send it, Dagda. We want the reward of watching KC versus G2 in a proper sense between Caps and Vladi.
Well, the thing is, we've kind of seen Caps go towards a lot of these picks that are much more range-oriented, right? Like, you think of the Hui being his most played, up there with the Talia for 4 games, the Oriannas, the Victors, the Azirs, even the Jace. A lot of these have been long-range damage dealers for Caps, and he has had some games like the Akali and the Yone, but we'll have to see if he's going to try and go back towards that shorter range. But it has certainly felt like they tried to have him as this long-range poke tool in a lot of their fights, or a lot of this scaling opportunity when they've had the most success with him.
Caps hasn't had the best split, but he started rounding out the end quite nicely. That Hui obviously getting respect, as you were talking about, so a double of those range mages, and in all seriousness too, it is pinching the pool quite a bit with Talia already down. Well, as we already saw at the start, Azir down, with Yone down as well. That makes 5 mid laners banned away from these two blokes.
Yeah, I think the Ambessa ban, though, speaks to me that they're probably looking for a Gnar on G2 side. To just say, hey, look, this is more than likely going to be our blind pick. Jace is already gone. Now the Ambessa, there's little that can really answer into that Ambessa in the top side, especially with Rumble gone. Sorry, the Ambessa and Rumble gone. The Gnar should be fine. So I'm curious if Canna just tries to take it away here, or if they just hold on to that R5 pick.
You get your answer now. 10 seconds to lock. Ari already taken away, and that makes number 6. Sylas is locked in. He's got that EU Zekarin in for another game.
So I'm curious if this is actually the flex pick, because Gnar doesn't work well into the Sylas. We've seen that matchup from Nak already, so I kind of like this, saying, hey, look, if you take the Gnar, we can send the Sylas top. We still get that counter pick. So keeping that flexibility open is pretty cool from KC. We'll have to see if it pans out.
Well, Jax maybe just takes it away from the top lane. We can echo more on that matchup if we get to see it, but Jax locked in. Galio, a neutralizer, and an all-in. Now you have yourself a bit of setup as well. Dagda, the Gnar for themselves will show that this Sylas is going back to our very own mid laner.
Yeah, but I'm happy if I end up with Sylas into Galio, right? Like, yes, the taunt and stuff can be a bit frustrating, but it gives me an easy matchup in the mid lane. I get access to that Galio ultimate as well to neutralize a lot of him, of the power that he brings towards team fights. So I'm relatively happy if I'm Vladi going into this matchup. And then, as you say, the Gnar on the opposite side, Jax will outscale the Gnar as this game goes on, but at least in the early stages, Canna should be comfortable to try and get some control against Broken.
And while you're mentioning Sylas ult usage, let's not forget it goes to Chains of Corruption, Depth Charge. I see also a Zhao ult, which may as well make it partially invulnerable. I feel like the ult usage this game is going to be so good for Vladi in mid lane, while Caps is obviously going to be on more of a utility role. He's going to have to be protecting Hansama, following up this setup of the dive.
I do think, though, the Galio is actually very good into the rest of the composition that is coming through from KC, because everything is short range. Like, everything wants to jump in on top of you, and that's where you can get a lot of that value from this Galio. The also, like, Kai'Sa kind of has to be careful about when she goes in with that killer instinct, because if you end up getting taunted or something by this Galio, you just end up absolutely miserable. So I think it very much G2 kind of playing to absorb the punch coming through from KC, where it's KC just trying to throw everything in the kitchen sink to just burst out immediately G2 in a fight.
Well, the only thing I'll say to add on to that is I'm just sad that this is only a 3-game series. Our grand final remake from Winter. Our top teams already locked into the top 4. KC to lock in first. G2 to lock in a semblance of hope in the top 4 that G2 are in fact back. This best of 3 live in Paris in our final series there will begin now.
And a reminder that that top 4 does send you to the upper bracket as well. So very, very nice to try and sit in towards that top 4, but we'll have to see if G2 can find themselves in there. It's not very often. Actually, if at all, we've seen G2 end up outside of the top 4. I don't think, they've never ended up outside of the top 4.
That's right,
so
they've never.
It'd be interesting if this would be the first time in their history G2 still make playoffs, but only by the skin of their teeth, whereas for KC, at 8-1 potential scoreline, a statement coming off the back of first stand.
Fnatic sitting behind them 7-2. They could finish over Fnatic. And KC would have first pick of the litter as well as they go into playoffs. In front of their home crowd, they're going to try. Now, we already mentioned, obviously 6 is an important point. Vladi getting ults to steal, ability to roam, play off the dive. Neeko very good at that. I feel like KC, this looks like Vitality from last game. A lot of go buttons, Dagda, that I'm seeing, you know, the ability to dive off repeat, the ability to isolate one target and nuke.
Yeah, I think for KC, early skirmishes could be a point that they try and focus on. And that's what we saw a lot from them in Game 1 and a certain amount in Game 3 yesterday. But Canna already taking a little bit of hurt from Broken Blade. It's kind of the power of Counter-Strike. It makes it very difficult, regardless of the matchup, to actually get that push against the Jaxes. He actually gets more damage, essentially, off the creeps and off you hitting him. So ends up pushing that way very, very effectively.
I mean, Canna already, it just reminds me of him going up against Broken Blade in the finals as well. Quick reminder,
SkewMond.
as SkewMond's coming in, we're going to hold that point for a little bit later. Targamas has nowhere to go. Dredge line, it is so easy. First blood to G2, and the crowd goes very mild.
Great play from SkewMond, though, reading, hey, I'm just going to do my red and immediately go into bot side. I wasn't sure if they were trying to look for someone else's Broken Blade.
And this is why I wanted to highlight top lane, getting very, very low. Canna in the Winter Finals, it was like an absolute one-sided stomp where we didn't get to see Broken Blade fight for attention. Quick reminder as Canna gets him low.
Yeah, I think Canna's been doing a fantastic job of just kind of absorbing pressure and then also finding his moments where he can punish. Oftentimes you'll see Yike sitting in a brush up on top side just to ensure he can shove in the wave or trade a lot more aggressively and find those wins. I think that has kind of been the success of Canna, is that kind of silent support from Yike, because Broken Blade, trying to see if he can get that little bit more damage here as well. But yeah, I think this is where, again, you'll probably see that kind of support. Try and help out Canna there from Yike as he goes for his reset. But I think now with his bot lane already very far behind, Yike's going to have his work cut out from the fact that you already have that early kill going across. Means you basically get a tier for free. You can see that early longsword coming through as well, and just gives a lot of control to Hansama and Labrov at looking for an all-in.
And as we get a closer look towards bot in a moment, I'm sure, I think Labrov helped hold the wave a little bit, so it's not like many minions were lost. And in fact, as you said, you know, that tier 3 in lane, the scaling already started, the power of the Varus lane too, a reason why this champ is constantly banned away. Weakness is quite low as Scuttle for Scuttle's traded.
Yeah, but he's about to come in mid. He snuck in over the wall.
No, it's got abduct though. There's going to be a shielded Duran. Caps now knows. Flash away, waiting. Headbutt. Yike gets interrupted on the Vault Breaker. He doesn't have to flash. Really smartly done from Caps with the last of his mana bar.
Yeah, Yike trying to hold on to the Vault Breaker in case Caps flashed, but Caps just ends up hitting him with the knock up and is like, great, now that CC or that cooldown's gone, I can just walk on out of here.
Cap's going to be able to stay in lane as well, so unfortunate there from Yike that his old mid laner gets in his way. Minions cleared out, Caps gets a good time to base.
It's nicely done, and it doesn't nullify a lot of that pressure as well. Vladi would have loved to have that early kill, especially when you tend to max Kingslayer in these melee matchups.
Yeah.
If you can get that early lead, it makes it very difficult for Caps to be able to trade effectively against you as you just have more AP, more healing coming through, but should be fine now.
Hollow Radiant's going to come in soon enough as well, by the way. If we're speaking about how Caps trades and what he has to offer in this lane. Bammy Cinder already picked up for a bit of wave clear, and we start approaching level 6. Half the way there for mid laners. Hot lane is still quite low. I mean, Hans Summer has just ticked over 4. But as we're setting about, as Dread Line connects, good little root caller coming from Targamas in the meantime. Hans continues winning in this 2v2 as you expect.
There's a nice attempt by Labrov, basically hoping, hey, Hans Sama kills the minion and I can land that hook as soon as the minion dies. He got him towards Targamas, but just wasn't quite able to get it. But yeah, I think now at this stage, you can kind of see where Yike is. He's going to move up towards topside, and this is what we're talking about, is like trying to enable Canna by just providing a little bit of pressure.
Yeah.
This wave is now in a really good spot where Canna has frozen, well, nearly had it frozen underneath the tower. That minion went on a little walkie. But it does mean, again, like, you just kind of get to sit in these positions at Canna where it makes it very difficult for BB to be able to interact with the lane. He's even gone for the reset, and
yeah.
I think Canna might have read this now, just going to shove in this wave as quickly as he can.
He does, so it's going to be a quick push. Canna's already used his TP as well, so he hits over to 6, stretch line. Dodge from Caliste. Sidestep really important there, because look at what's happening on the minimap. G2 sending the invade squad, 6 picked up by Caps, and SkewMond trying to get the Gromp here so he gets half the way there.
Yeah, just trying to use that pressure to trap bot side, but still have to be a little careful, as Vladi is on the way.
It is a pincer. Vladi will have his own ult as well. Tango stretch line, starts into a fight. There's a knock-up. Shielded Duran flies away from it. Targamas will not escape. Vladi jumps into this, but into melee range. That's danger. Caps will fly down. Vladi will stay in place and buried underneath the weight of G2. Caliste gets poked out, and G2 are thinking about it, but they've already picked up all the gold while top lane has fired it out. Nothing for KC in the early game. It's only G2.
KC flew too close to the sun, and it was blacked out by a Galio as he crashed down in on top of them. G2 picking up 3 kills in these early stages to set them very nicely off at the start.
1,500 gold lead. Look at the replay. Dagda, stretch line from Labrov was nice.
And straight on to Targamas as well. You're able to follow up so easily there. And then when you go here, like, Vladi tries to get the Nautilus ultimate to set things up, but the fact that you get the auto attack from Labrov keeps him just on the edge of that Galio ult, and just nicely done by G2, like, set up off of the pressure they had on bot. That was set up by that level 2 play by SkewMond. This is kind of G2 setting the pace of the game.
I love something you talked about in draft where you were saying, like, okay, the Sylas is nice into the matchup where, you know, he'll be fine, whatever, but into the rest of the comp, the Galio has a lot of value. There's a lot of value from G2 as well and how they've structured this. Running into a Galio here when KC are a lot of dive mid to low to no range. It hurt them in that fight. Dragon's still going to go over though with the resets coming in, so that is 1+, but there's a bit of a gold lead brewing between a 2-kill AD carry, between SkewMond as well, who once again is a farming demon who also picked up the last kill.
This is where it gets interesting for boy groups though, because Vladi stole Nautilus ult, did not steal Caps ult. So now it's KC who actually have access to, okay, a potential Galio ultimate for something like a Void Grubs fight, which honestly I think G2 kind of want to avoid. So I think you either have to make a pick or a play first, or play for some sort of cross map if you're G2.
Waiting for him to pull it up. G2 are on it first. You raise it because it's only 3 grubs now, and it's really, really important into the game. Yike's also up here as well, but he doesn't have 6 Dagda. SkewMond has a full level lead now in the jungle. Yike needs that assault and battery, but he's not going to have it until now when 2. Maybe all 3 grubs are gone.
Yeah, so good call out, Hysterics. Just the level 6 not being hit by Yike. Doesn't have the camps in time. You can see now it's too late as KC try to come across to contest on that. So KC just not having their jungler in position, and their AD carry a little late on the top lane push means they're just able to pick up the Void Rush.
G2, early game is looking good. Don't worry, I've called them goobs before. Goobs? Yeah,
like
Void goobs, yeah.
Ah.
Red sign. Okay, Labrov, he's getting out of there instead. Cease and desist used. Hansama push to the side. Great damage onto Labrov. First kill coming up to KC, but under turret, Yike is dead. Hansama takes care of business while Flashboard. Caliste gets the damage and gets out! Somehow 2 kills over to the French ADC.
That looked like the turnaround play from G2, but Caliste perfectly damages Hansama. That was calculated to a T.
I guess so. 3 players up.
Yeah, like Labrov here steps forward, but Yike in position. Good hook onto the wall, but immediately the double follow-up, and this is why you take that Kai'Sa and the buy. But watch here, as you go underneath the tower, like, it's an auto, and the last pick on the queue finishes him off. That was just really well played by Caliste.
As you said, to a T. 2 kills for both AD carries. Hans on 3, but both AD showing up to the show. G2, that dive, as you said, looks so sketchy. I mean, Yike gets punished for it, but it is really nice to see that KC are willing to throw haymakers back. Nothing up on the map. This time again, Dagda, we talk about objectives all the time. With this small gap between dragons before Herald spawns, like, it's all about plating and what you can draw from these individual lanes. Yeah,
and I think it's going to be fairly chill and just trying to move through your lanes, because when you have both of these essentially Galio ultimates available on your mid lane, it makes it very, very difficult for you to be able to play towards sides, because you could, if you go too deep underneath the tower, suddenly someone else shows up in your lane and you got this big AoE knock-up and a shield. So I think both sides going to be taking it fairly easy, and you're just looking to farm it up.
Rather, Caliste, sorry, he also starts with Siege Right Line. Sidestep again. Yeah, put up the KC sign. Oh, there's the tongue. That's the classic. Show us Caliste again. He's got his tongue out. I've been following his emote journey, because obviously there's a couple of people in the league, like 113 tells us to take notes, I think. No, or is that Zhao? But Caliste is an emote spammer as well.
Yeah.
FF, but where's the tongue? Go on.
No, there's creeps there. He's got to lock in.
Sorry. No, not yet. They'll come later. Canna gonna ulti, broken plate. Counter strike, jumps back in. Ulti for ulti. Canna, he's gonna run out of Mega Gnar soon, but broken plate just pushing him away.
Yeah, I mean, just happy to trade. Like, you've got a nice lead already for Canna off of some of the turret plays he's been able to take, which is working out for him, but doesn't really need to try and overextend in this matchup. And as well, like, you've now got Dragon that's in a minute's time, so some vision set up on that top side, but realistically, everyone's going to try and reset now and just set up for that next objective. Labrov has actually gone for a little bit of a sneaky reset alongside Hansama, so trying to see if they can get into the spot side. Should be able to get some turret plates for himself.
Trying to poke down Canna, but the minion wave is quite thin, so Hansama stays, and Casey walking in. SkewMond waiting though for Targamas. Top Blossom going to come up. Dredgeline pulls him back in. Can SkewMond do it alone with the depth charge? I don't think so. It's a cease and desist from Yike. The old G2 jungler keeps him in place, but Caps plays the defensive, puts him in a bow tower, and then puts him in his place.
Nice pick off from G2. Caliste walked the entire way from topside to mid lane without resetting, so just didn't really have the damage to try and work through any of the health bars that were there. And KC end up biting off more than they can chew, and now G2 firmly in position, stealing away camps, pushing in bot side, and should be able to fall back over towards this dragon as well.
Caps has been on point with these ultis. I mean, Caps always there. Like, again, I got to bring up the conversation where first 4-5 weeks, even till last week, I was like, man, Caps is not even the best mid in the top 3 for me in a discussion when people like Neeko were playing so well, when I think Jayek was a quarter of his team. Yeah, I know, I brought him in. Vladi as well, you know, like, you're right, Humanoid's playing a lot better as well, like, but he always just finds a way to slip back in. I don't know what it is. Like, you kick him out. You know that meme where you throw Barney Grumble out of the bar, Mo throws him out, and then he appears he's behind him again? Yeah, that's Caps.
I mean, I think the biggest fault that Caps has had has been like constantly getting ganked in mid and dying to them, right? We saw that first gank by Yike didn't go well, and Caps was just on a far tankier mid laner that is much easier to, well, I won't say easier to escape on, but at least is better at surviving some of these early ganks. So I think it's definitely nullified some of that game plan from KC, but also it has been KC doing what KC has been faulted for, which is going in too deep, trying to force plays when they really don't need to, and just biting off more than they can chew. So I think for KC, it's also kind of a bit of a wake-up as...
SkewMond jumps into this. Look how strong he is, though. Pop Blossom used. Big tool. What's the timer on that? Because, I mean, 125, we've got Herald spawning and Targamas without his ult.
Yeah, he should have a backup in time. It's not a 2-minute cooldown,
okay.
But still,
good to know.
It's more the pressure that G2 are able to use, right? Because you've already got Hansam in a great position where he will constantly just clear these waves mid on this lethality Varus, and it's opened up Labrov to make moves like this where he moves up towards this top side to cover.
Oh, Broken Blade hit. Canna with no ulti up. Walks it back. Labrov here to help out. And it's a leap away from Canna, but he is on the edge of trying to solo kill Broken Blade. It has been nice, you know, both top laners have been like 200 HP perma this game.
They really just want to battle it out, but at the moment, it is still Canna getting a lot of these leads and kind of getting this early control. As you said, like Broken Blade will eventually scale into the matchup as he kind of ticks over to like level 13, level 14, has 2 items completed, but for the moment, it is not so pretty for him. But I think this is where, again, like Labrov can make the difference, which is like this. You get push on mid, open up for a move up towards the top side, and at the moment, it would just be looking for Rift Herald as it's about to spawn, but you're still getting control, vision control, and getting access to River, which is really what G2 are looking for here.
Yike sneaking in, though. Before we talk about the River, we must talk about what's happening on the land. KC getting support, but Broken Blade walking down, very intelligently done. Herald up in 1 second. And as you said, getting vision towards this is going to be really important. SkewMond going to be first on the board. Yike, he's charging up, but look at Broken Blade. He knows his jungler. He knows his old jungler maybe too well. He thinks, no way. Bolted into the wall. He's stunned up for days. Dead at the heart of Yike's fist. And now Targamas looking for position. Dagda, as you said, that ulti is back up and available indeed. That pulls G2 off the Herald.
The pick is perfect. And Yike, great call there to just sit there. And this is, again, what we were talking about. Like, Yike basically hovering in these bushes with Canna to give him this early success and really set him up to be a carry. Now on his Gnar, once again, his Targamas doesn't want to end up on the business end of SkewMond's spear anymore, but SkewMond trying to move topside to hold on towards this turret, and he has to call for reinforcements from Hansam as well.
SkewMond will just reset the wave. I mean, he's going to try and get Canna away from it because the turret's getting pretty low. He'll find a knock up. Labrov coming in, but Targamas is a clone in the way, and Canna's about to go mega. Herald stays there for a little bit longer. You can see that Yike is moving down towards bot.
Yeah, KC just weren't really comfortable to try and go for it.
Yeah.
Caliste now back on mid-wave will be able to clear that out, but you can see SkewMond already starting it up, knowing that he'll be out completely fine. KC end up using a lot to make the pick happen, but without really having control over mid-wave or being able to move into position, G2 have to get the objective.
True. On a ward, so at least KC no, but you're right. Instead, Yike's going to look for his own lead, steal away some camps around bot. Herald goes down safely. Yike will start this farm up while Caliste looks for pressure on mid, but there is a Varus, and his wave clear is still existent, so.
Yeah, see, KC are trying to play on kind of both sides of the map at the moment. You see Targamas constantly hoping for Canna as Canna wants to try and get that top lane turret, and looks like he should be able to do that now. But you've also got them going for this invade on bottom side.
It's an engage, but Labrov's out. KC find nothing.
Yeah, but it's the Caps was feeling threatened enough to move off that bot lane turret. End up clearing out just the, or didn't actually clear out the Krugs on the bottom side. They just sat there because he didn't want to be visible, trying to spot out exactly what KC are up to. But it is a little difficult when Targamas on top side to make a play bot, but they do get that tower top.
Broken Blade needs a counter strike, but look at the damage coming through. Flash Carter just goes over the enemy jungler. Boomerang though doesn't connect. Broken Blade has a way back in. Now with his own counter strike, SkewMond makes the difference and gives the kill over to BB.
The boomerang just barely missing there means that Canna can't get the kill, but still, nice job by SkewMond to cover his top laner after that turret had gone down. Canna just trying so desperately to get the kill, but it doesn't work out.
Might open things up top, Dagda. You're talking about all these, you know, what Caps can do in a side lane. As Dragon goes down and makes it 2 for KC, Caps is going to get some time in the sun with top lane turret. Mid even as well, there's a push. Should be coming through, so looks like KC getting little scraps here. But again, SkewMond. I mean, SkewMond's just always ahead. Any game, individually, this guy always has a lead, I feel.
Yeah, he's just very, very efficient how he clears the jungle. Makes him very difficult to control. And even here, G2, efficient on the map, right? Hansama moves towards mid to clear out that wave of Labrov. SkewMond has already moved topside, so you don't even have to use the Herald now to secure this top lane turret, while KC have to defend that mid lane turret as well. So G2 just kind of putting pressure on the people, but KC silently picking up the dragons. You know, 2 dragons now to their name. when you get to these team fights, like extra mountain dragons on people like Canna, like Vladi, even Yike to a certain extent as well, going to be very valuable. Especially you talked about like KC very much want to land that big punch at the start of the fight. And if they can survive the clapback by G2 through these mountain dragons, it will help them out.
It's like one of the most important games to see a mountain dragon. Now, Caps will surely be wanting some of his own because there's going to be a big Gnar. It's going to be a big Vi. Everyone's just big, you know. I'm sorry, I looked at the baguette graphic before. I just was very distracted. As Dagda, 50 seconds or less or more. Sometimes brain no good. There's going to be a ward placed down. A blast going to be taken out. It's 45 until Atakan. That's what I was trying to tell you all at home.
But again, like, I just love how G2 are moving around the map. It's clear mid, put pressure somewhere. So it's clear mid now, then move into the spot side jungle. And it's just netting that push now from Broken Blade to keep Canna pushed into his side of the map. So now G2 start to rotate across the mid, and because they've got that Rift Herald, KC have to be so cautious of that Rift Herald suddenly being plonked down and trying to make a mid lane play. So it's causing KC some discomfort here.
Pick, maybe. Caliste getting dove on by Caps, takes no damage yet. Abscond of Duck doesn't connect, and Huntama does. Tanglebarbs are there, but look, Labrov is keeping him out of the fight while Caliste gets jumped on. Counter-strike through and through is Yike. He's going to Vault Breaker away. Mid now might be opened. It's good damage from G2 to chunk KC.
The fact that Caliste has to go back to base means they should be able to get this without much pressure back from KC. You see Canna wanted to try and go for the tier 1 on bottom side, but with Caps and Broken Blade having those teleports available, you know he can't really go for it. So still, Rift Herald available for G2, and this time it could be used on towards something like a tier 2 tower, as Atakan is up and available as well.
You're right, that Atakan probably going to be the next thought here. I mean, 2.5 minutes till the Dragon, Canna finally getting a turret of his own. Make it a second one, actually. He's picked up top before. 1,500 gold. We're just going to come down to a fight, aren't we? As Caliste might be caught out, maybe ignore that. The pick, the flash, and Caliste over a blast go knocked up before he can escape. SkewMond, again, the Xin Zhao is running the map.
Caliste overextended mid and didn't have the support. Again, Targamas playing down towards Canna, Yike playing down towards Canna to secure that tower, and he just steps up that bit too far. Good ward in the middle lane as well from G2 to spot that out. And now with the pick, it's going to be Atakan for G2.
Young Star not up for another 20 seconds. Atakan seems so likely here. Teleport from Caps in. Yike is too far away.
And this feels like G2 saying, we are bouncing back from that winter finals. We are bouncing back from what has been a not great time, to be perfectly honest, at the start of spring. This has been a matchup that has kind of held that rivalry from them coming over from the last bit. The first time KC was actually able to pick up wins.
Yike followed over the wall, though. That blast cone taken before. It's no longer there. Depth charge. Yike has to go back in. He'll cease and desist. He queues over the wall. It's inventive, but it's so invasive as the next turret won't be taken. Broken Blade's going on a journey.
He's going to the tier 2. Topside.
In a turret. Innovation is key. And Broken Blade's actually just going to one-shot the turret. So beautiful play from G2, especially from this guy.
Hey, it worked.
Oh, fist bump. Yo, press you. G2. He pressed you, but no one's fist bumping him. Hello.
It's fine. He's fine. He just needs to get the emotes back because he was the original take notes.
He was. But if you press you, Dagda, and no one fist bumps you, like,
it's like if a tree fell in the woods. It's like, does it really?
Oh yeah. Except that tree is your heart.
Oh.
And I'll know, you know. I'll know. Broken Blade still. Smart play. Dragon's coming up in 30 seconds though, Dagda. I feel like this is a real meat grinder after Atakan's been taken off the map, as you said before.
But like, apart from SkewMond's flash being down, like, there's nothing on G2 that is really a problem.
Yeah.
But when you look across at KC, it's like Vladi's flash down, Caliste flash down, Yike flash down. And now, how do you try and buy this space back getting in towards the Dragon Pit as well? Like, G2 have played this map fantastically and just put a bunch of really tough questions onto KC's side and gone, how are you going to respond? And unfortunately, KC just haven't really had a chance to respond in the manner that they'd like to.
Trying to pick up waves opposite side of the map. Yike's trying to do the same in jungle camp. But Dragon's going to go down in G2. That 3k gold lead still holds. Like, it has still been there early again. There's been a couple of picks by KC, but as you said, G2 are really making a statement here. They did so yesterday, and it feels like this is not the G2 we saw in Madrid. Maybe Paris G2 is completely different as Targamas fought out, and again I have to say he's poked down. SkewMond is not scared to take the engage.
No, he's just everywhere. Like, the second anyone on KC walks halfway up mid lane, he's like, you're dead. Just, I'm going to kill you.
On a ward, he does it again. Vladi was on a ward. He's blue smoke down, and he's just going to be slowed down as well. A Crescent Guard to send out. SkewMond, audacious charge again, knock up there, but Yike can't do a thing. KC and getting picked off this game. It's becoming very iconic.
SkewMond having a statement game here against KC. Kind of putting it into Yike's face, saying, all right, yeah, you had a good game yesterday, but
you girlfriend.
Here's what you really do.
The old one's ugly. Yike's the old girlfriend. That's what G2 is saying. I try to do it like a mean girl's voice, you know?
Yeah.
Like I'm Lindsay Lohan. I don't really
works
the
with the Australian accent. I mean, again, here, SkewMond, just great. And it's, again, just like constantly playing as mid lane as this pivot point. They just constantly launch attacks off of it. It's been great. Gets the pick on Targamas, and as you said, then Vladi doesn't even realize.
He's doing it again. He's doing it again. We come back live, and he's doing it again. Yike is found once more. SkewMond, 5-0-5, almost 100% KP. Yo, MVP for game one goes to him.
But it's also, why are KC in that position? Because at this stage, like, Baron is up in 10 seconds, so there's not much on the bottom side of the map. You are pushing in towards River, and unless you were just like, hey, we're going to give up Baron or give up control around Baron, it feels like very much an overextension, because G2 constantly control these jungle sides, and KC just get caught out of it.
Knowledge going to be used to take the turret swiftly. Minion wave saved as well. SkewMond using the health bar. Another bullet bitten, and KC 5.5k gold down. It is getting better and better for G2, worse and worse for the KC fans in the arena. Caps, is he caught out is the big question. Shield of Duran going to be used to entice Caliste in, but SkewMond sits there. Targamas can't go in.
My heart skips a beat every time that Wind Becomes Lightning connects, because I'm like, there's so much damage on this Sin Zed right now. I'm like, is he just going to send it? But no, it will just be Caps backing off. Mid lane tower defended successfully here by G2, but again, I think it's just kind of like G2 waiting for these next completed items to come through, so then they can really set up for the next big fight, because things are starting to turn now for Broken Blade. He has 2 items now completed, working up towards his Zanya's Hourglass. If he can get on towards Canna, I think he should be able to win out in the matchup, but or if Canna ends up overextending. But even then, it's just, you know, Caps constantly being able to follow up on those plays. Hansam again controlling his push in mid. It's just getting access to the map is so difficult for KC.
Like Canna pushing inside is their best chance right now, as he's shown, putting pressure on, so Broken Blade has to match. As teleport available, Canna has an individual lead, both in gold and experience. Right now, if they need that Korean to carry, it better come through, as Dagda, you might get your answer. He's going to go into Gnar. Does he think he wins the 1v1?
Caliste is here, though.
He is indeed. It's not going to be a true 1v1, is it? Gnar into the wall. Caliste flies in, and Broken Blade will flash in, but 2v1 just ain't fair. A counter-strike through. Caliste gets jumped on, cleansed immediately. Broken Blade takes a 1-for-1 and a 2v1. Never mind the champion matchup. You call it skill. The top father has set this up so that G2 can fly with the rest of the map. Targamas on a hair's breadth will also sink instead of swimming. And KC must onlook as G2 make them their father again.
G2 pulled off the Baron, though. They're looking to see if they can try and take the fight. A little nervous as Caps going for the flank.
Going to find melee range, so this engage would be good, but Caps can press W, flash away from Yike. He wants the Vault Breaker, but to where? Engage from SkewMond. Vladi has the ulti, but he has to escape too. Let's Targamas up soon, Dagda, but Baron still sits there. G2 still getting gold.
KC made a hero play yesterday when they were down numbers, but they were also up a significant margin in gold, and that is not going to be the case here against G2. 4,500 gold as we press the 28-minute mark, and
Oi, TP against the wall. Canna comes in. What a pick. As you said, they needed something. SkewMond pulls off the ulti, but he needs time from Cap. The engage good. SkewMond surviving for now, but they can't kill him. Canna goes into mini, and it hurts his chances. Caliste now coming back in. Fracks off the respawn. Broken Blade tanky enough. Frontlining. KC, though, just can't find the final kill. Caliste might kite back, but now that Hans is here, range is an issue, and KC bites it again.
KC wanted it so badly, but G2 refused to crumble against KC as the Baron will be their prize.
It's so close, but KC walking in G2. This team continuously runs our region, and we're getting a full head-on grasp in game one as to why that is. KC over to the Dragon to take Soul, but for the Baron, we have to see if KC can hold on long enough to move to that Soul.
Revenge feeling like a dish best served in your opponent's home.
Oh.
But it was a great engage. Like, it was a good idea, a great pick, but the damage just isn't there. Vladi has to flash away because of Broken Blade coming in to help out. SkewMond not getting hit by the heroic entrance either, and KC then, they're just running for the hills. They needed that to work, and it just wasn't quite enough.
Caps is a nuisance. Broken Blade is tanking out too. He's got Seekers. Zonya's coming next. 3.5k plus gold lead for SkewMond. And Dagda, you know the reason he survived, not only just Hysterics gauge, but the Thunder Sky. He hit 3-4 targets in that fight. The healing is still so stupid on that item. 7k gold lead, and G2 now with the Red Bull Baron power play are trying to run this into the base and break it apart.
I mean, let's be real. He's also 2 levels above KC's mid laner and 3 levels above Yike.
Oh.
That is also going to be pretty impactful.
Health gives you levels. Levels give you health. That's what I meant. Yeah.
But also, like, his third auto attack is healing him because of his passive.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, yeah.
like, there's just a lot of healing in that Zinza's kit as well. So, yeah, and like, SkewMond has had an absolute stormer of a game, and now just gets to ride that across the victory line.
And G2, it's soon going to become hard for the fans that live over this first game. As with the Baron, they've able to broken up the bottom part of the map, Dagda. I will say though, Baron, 500 gold lead. And that's all they've gotten from it so far, despite opening the base.
Yeah, I think the fact that KC ended up going for the dragon after as well helped, because they're now on 3 dragons.
Yeah.
So they traded that for us, as Canna just needs to be a little careful. But
He dodged that. See, he's got Mega Dagda. He was thinking, maybe I go sneaky and I can find an angle on that.
yeah, I think the problem for KC is I just don't know when this like game breaks in their favor.
Yeah.
Right? It still feels like Broken Blade scales into a really, really good spot, and it's kind of gotten to that stage. Caps just gets a lot of value as well on towards the Galio with the amount of CC he can bring to a fight. And Vladi is getting to a point where he has a lot of cooldown in his kit and can try and take these fights, but again, it's the kind of jumping into G2 with the amount of CC for melee champions that they have just makes it very difficult for this Sylas to try and find value, and same honestly with Caliste.
When Sylas falls behind as well, I mean, that champion loves a good snowball. He's like Nunu's second cousin. 2.5 items deep now. That utility needs to come in clutch. Canna with a Mega Gnar bar as well, watching his flank. How he pulls this off, G2, as they threaten in. Dredgeline fails, Canna, Mega Gnar. It's deep from Broken Blade. He's got a Sonya, so he can do that. Mega Gnar only onto one. Canna finds a pick, and it's enough. But Caps is going to send himself in. No knockup gathered. KC, look, approach, flush away from SkewMond. Caliste has an angle. Shielded around does nothing. Vladi still with his own ult. Yike is going to pivot, jumps in, but the Sonya's good from Caps. Vault Breaker in. The reuse ulti. The send down was good. And a shutdown over to Vladi, Dagda. Your questions are getting answered.
They played it so patiently. Canna doesn't overcommit for that big ultimate because it would have just given Caps that counter punch that he needed. Instead, sits back on the edge. KC barely played a hand's reach, and it works out great. You can see here Canna, like, he can flash. Sorry, doesn't have flash available. Could have gone for this big engage, but instead just looks for Targamas. No one overcommits. Everyone stays out of that ult range from Caps. And once that is down, then they really become a big threat. And even here, Yike just waiting for that taunt to go away before he commits with the ultimate. And Caps goes golden, but it's just not enough. And you can see there, the call from G2 is, look, everyone get out. I'll go down.
Yep.
Just make it to the lifeboats.
With the gold back. And after a Baron, after the base attacked, it's only a 4.5k gold lead. Still within KC's reach. And what I can tell you is that KC are kind of showing why they're in this upper echelon, why they're in this top 2, why, you know, even though, yes, G2 aren't in the top 2 of the standings, that conversation still has to be there around them. This is the matchup we've been waiting for the whole split. Already is game 1, but it's bloody well delivering with 30 seconds left on Dragon.
Yeah, KC still want to try and fight, but as you say, 30 seconds is a potential soul for KC, but look at where Caps is.
I'm looking.
That tower is very low on the top side of the map. G2 basically trying to push KC out of the hole that they've dug in around this Dragon.
SkewMond is he caught. Yike jumps in. A fight begins. Vault Breaker consists. Pop Blossom. It's everyone. Into the backline. Targamas found it, but Caps has to use the ult defensively. Meanwhile, a poke for poker, hit for hit. G2 re-engaged. They're winning the fight with Caps, forcing double flash. Canna, counter-strike as well as SkewMond. And Yike battling it out. New girlfriend versus old. I think the new one is way prettier as Caps will find the kill. Canna down in the sand. And along with Yike, KC have just been reprimanded.
Caliste got put in the ground in that fight. Labrov with the flash hook, the snipe from Hansama, and G2 will find the win that they needed over KC.
One more Nexus Tower. Vladi can't do it himself. Golden is broken blade. The minion wave is far away though. Vladi's going to burn the ulti, but a new one's coming in. G2 versus KC, our grand final rematch is going nothing like it did in winter. G2 are definitely back, and they've drawn their line in Paris as the crowd has gone quiet.
G2 came to play. What an exceptional game from multiple members on G2.
Yeah.
SkewMond, fantastic. Caps with the counter pick Galio, dictating how KC get to play fights. But also in that last fight, just a flash hook from Labrov was insane.
It really was. Stepping up big, G2 with a Game 1 win, but it is our last match in Paris, and we're hoping more from KC as we go to a short break.